Jo Frost, the iconic no-nonsense nanny who took over our television screens with her discipline-driven parenting methods, has just shared something deeply personal and terrifying. In an emotional and unfiltered Instagram video posted on July 12th, the 55-year-old Supernanny star revealed she's been quietly living with a life-threatening medical condition, anaphylaxis. This isn't just a minor allergy or a dietary inconvenience. This is a severe, potentially fatal allergic reaction that can be triggered by common substances like food, insect stings, or medications. And for Jo, it's already sent her to the hospital multiple times. She didn't sugarcoat a thing. In her own powerful words, "I've survived more anaphylactic shocks than I'm prepared to go into detail about right now." That alone stopped hearts. But she didn't stop there. She continued, "I have anaphylaxis, a life-threatening medical condition to certain foods that will compromise my body so horrifically to the point of hospitalization." Her voice trembled not out of fear, but out of deep frustration and pain. This is a woman who built a career teaching families how to take control of their lives, and yet here she is, forced to live every moment hyper-aware of what could happen if the wrong ingredient finds its way onto her plate. Jo explained that the condition causes her throat to swell, her breathing to cease, and her body to crash into unconsciousness. She carries epinephrine and lives with hypervigilance. This isn't some distant, rare illness. It's real, it's relentless, and it affects millions. And she made sure we all knew that. Absolute millions of people live cautiously and anxiously navigating this journey with not nearly enough compassion, education, and empathy, she stressed, calling out how little society actually understands about anaphylaxis. She wasn't just speaking for herself, she was speaking for every child who's ever had to sit alone at a peanut-free lunch table, every adult afraid to dine out, and every family who's experienced the trauma of watching a loved one collapse because of a microscopic exposure to a trigger. Jo took aim at restaurants and public venues with a scathing critique. The passive-aggressive attitudes, the "it may contain" labels, the lack of education and training, it's dangerous, she warned. And she didn't hold back when comparing such carelessness to outright violence. "If you ignore the severity, it's as bad as shoving a loaded gun in my face." That line echoed across social media, instantly going viral. Thousands reshared it with hashtags like #AnaphylaxisAwareness and #SupernannyJo, praising her for saying what so many have been too afraid to express. But Frost wasn't done. She stood up for others too. People with celiac disease, with severe food intolerances, with misunderstood conditions that get brushed off as fad diets or overreactions. She made it clear, this is not a preference. This is survival. In an industry where food is everywhere, green room snacks, catered sets, media dinners, her daily life has become a tightrope walk between enjoying her work and protecting her life. Addressing speculation that she may have a neurological condition, Jo clarified that any visible shaking during her message was not Parkinson's or tremors, it was vulnerability. "That was me comforting myself. I'm being very vulnerable with you," she said. And it was that honesty, that emotional rawness, that connected so many fans to her in a way that parenting tips never could. Jo Frost first rose to fame with the British version of Supernanny in 2004, quickly becoming an international household name as she brought structure and peace to chaotic homes. Her no-nonsense approach earned her both praise and controversy, but what no one knew at the time was that she was dealing with a silent threat behind the scenes. The American version of Supernanny ran from 2005 to 2011, and in 2020, she returned for a new season on Lifetime. All the while, she was battling a condition that could have taken her life at any moment. Now, Jo is channeling that same fierce dedication into raising awareness about anaphylaxis. With over 600,000 Instagram followers, she's using her platform not just to talk about her own struggle, but to educate. She's calling on restaurants to train their staff, on schools to implement better emergency protocols, and on the general public to take this seriously. Get curious and learn more, because we all know someone, she urged, emphasizing that knowledge and empathy can be the difference between life and death. The reaction from fans has been overwhelming. Messages of support flooded in, some from fellow allergy sufferers, others from grateful parents who thanked Jo for using her voice to bring visibility to an often ignored issue. Advocacy groups applauded her courage, noting that a figure like Jo Frost stepping into the spotlight for this cause could drive the kind of cultural shift they've been fighting for years to achieve. This isn't just about one celebrity's diagnosis. It's about what happens next. Jo's story is a wake-up call, a reminder that medical conditions like anaphylaxis aren't theoretical. They're everyday realities for millions. And while Jo may have once been known as the Supernanny who saved families from meltdowns and misbehavior, she's now emerging as something even more powerful, an advocate for survival, for compassion, and for change. This condition does not define who I am and the impact I make in the world daily, she said with strength. But even with that resolve, she admitted, the energy I have to use to discern with hypervigilance every moment of my day is exhausting. And still, she's showing up, speaking out, and refusing to be silent. So whether you've been a fan of hers since the Supernanny days or you're just hearing her story now, Jo Frost has given us all something to think about. What will you do with that knowledge? Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.